Hi everyone and welcome to another recipe video, and today it's Mr. Tashcake's birthday, so I've made him a mango cream cake for his birthday. And this is modelled on the Japanese strawberry shortcake, or shortcakey, which is basically the same thing. And oh my god, would they shut up! Sorry guys, there's a loads of people doing lots of drilling and banging outside our flat, and it's really noisy, so you're going to hear a lot of that background noise today, unfortunately, so really sorry about that. I can't stop them, they've got to do their thing, and it's really difficult to do stuff in between, so I'll just let them do their thing and I'll do mine. And I've based this cake on the Japanese strawberry shortcake, which they usually actually have for Christmas for some reason, but it's a really nice cake and it's really soft and fluffy. And it's obviously not Christmas, but who needs Christmas to eat cake? It's made out of 2 layers of genoise sponge. Well, it's kind of a cheap genoise, which I'll show you why in a minute, but it does use a very similar technique of whipping the eggs until it's really, really light and fluffy, almost like a meringue, but not quite. And it's sandwiched with layers of fresh whipping cream, really cool and creamy, and plenty of fresh mango. If you want to turn this into a strawberry shortcake, then use strawberries instead of mango, simple. Or you can substitute it for any soft fruit you like. Just make sure it's a nice sweet fruit. Right, let's go to the kitchen to start making this. Now, as with anything we need to stick in the oven, we need to preheat the oven. And we're doing this to 180 degrees C. Waiting for the drilling to start. No, next we're going to prepare our tins. As you can see, I've cut some greaseproof paper to size. And now all we have to do is grease the sides. So I'm just going to take these papers out for a second and literally just wipe some oil around. Oops, that's a rather lot. I'm just taking as much of that excess oil away as possible now. That's way too much oil. Now that's done, we're just going to stick those discs of paper back in like so. And then set these aside. Now for the fun part. We're going to crack 4 eggs. Now we're going to add our sugar in. And we're going to whisk it until it's really foamy and thick, and that's going to take about 10 minutes, so let's go. And we're about done! Isn't that gorgeous? Lovely and creamy and fluffy. So this is basically a cheat genoise sponge in that we haven't whisked the eggs over a heat, but we are just whisking them until foamy while cold, but it still works. So let's move on to the next step, and we've got to move fast because we need to keep all that air in. We're going to sift in our dry ingredients, and first we're going to add 85 grams of, hang on, which one is this? No, this is the corn flour. 50 grams of corn flour, excuse me, and 85 grams indeed of self-raising flour. Purists will probably add plain flour, but we're not purists here, we're heathens. And the self-raising flour is a little bit of a cheat. It does give a bit extra lift to the cake, of course, because of the raising agents in there. Oh, and before I forget, just a little pinch of salt. Whisk that in too. Gotta bring out those flavours. And now we're going to fold that in. The drillers are giving me a break at the moment. I hope they continue to for the rest of this video. Probably wishful thinking, but you know, you've got to work with what you have. So we're using gentle folding motions. You can do this with a spatula. Again, purists will use something else like a metal spoon. I prefer using a balloon whisk because all the several spokes make things a little bit faster. But you do still have to be quite gentle. As you can see, I'm tapping the batter through the spokes of the balloon whisk. But feel free to use a spatula or a metal spoon, whatever floats your boat, just as long as you're really careful to keep as much air in there as possible. And that's about ready to add in the final ingredients. So the last ingredients, we're going to add some fat in. Here I've got 15 grams of unsalted butter, which I've melted and cooled. Make sure it's cool, you don't want to end up with pre-cooked chunks of cake in your batter. And then just a teaspoonful of milk. And we're going to fold that in too using the same gentle motion. And remember, get right to the bottom. Scoop it all up and make sure it's evenly incorporated because you don't want a patchy cake. And that's it, we're pretty much done. We're ready to fill our cake tins. Got our 2 cake tins, and we're going to pour them evenly between the tins. If you want to be super precise, you can weigh each side. I never bother. This is tricky with one hand. Be gentle if you're using a spatula because you don't want to knock any air out. We've done so much hard work, good hard work here to get a really foamy batter. Next we're going to tap like that on the counter. This knocks out any large air bubbles. And we're going to bake these for 20 to 25 minutes. While the cake's cooking, we're going to make a simple syrup to brush over the cake and keep it moist. So here I've got 50 grams of caster sugar. Just pop the heat on here. And we're going to add to that 50 millilitres of good old-fashioned water. Now all we have to do is bring this to a boil. We're going to boil it for 3 minutes and then we're going to turn the heat off and cool it, and that is literally a simple syrup. Alright, so that's been an even 3 minutes, so let's take it off the heat and let it cool down. 20 minutes are up, and boy do these smell good. Ooh, spongy spongy. Now we're just going to let them cool down completely before we do anything else. Now that these cakes are cool, we're going to tip them out and level them off because they are kind of domed, which is awkward when you want to make nice smooth cakes. So let's do that now. I'm going to take a knife, a blunt knife, just give it an old swipe around each side. That should help loosen the cake a bit from the tin. Do it to this one too. Thankfully the guys outside have stopped drilling now because it's a bit later in the evening. Now let's give them a tap. There we go. And tell you what, before we take this off, let's slice the top first. A sharp knife and just saw it across. I'm not going to take too much off, just the very top. There we go. And because I love me some leftovers, I am going to just decant this into a bowl and snack on it later. Wow, look at how spongy and soft. That is fantastic. Anyway, I'm getting distracted by my own cake. Maybe I should have got a bigger bowl. Let's see. Well, that should be fine for the second one too. Anyway, got a plate here. Let's take this off now because we don't want to eat that. And let's whack that straight on the plate. Like that. Nice. Okay, I'm just going to do that with the other one, so I'll see you in a minute. Now we have 2 beautiful layers of cake. Remember that syrup we made? Now is when we're going to use it. We're going to very liberally brush this syrup over the top of both. Don't be shy, use it all. Now let's set these aside to soak in a bit and we're going to cut the mango. I have 3 very juicy sweet mangoes here, and just like last week I'm going to cut them so that I cut both cheeks, and then instead of doing slices I'm going to make cubes. So let's do that now. Cut one cheek first. Remember the thin is kind of long and thin inside. Oh, I could have actually cut a bit more on that side. Cut the other cheek. There we go, that was a bit better. First I'm going to cut it into slices. You'll see the method to my madness in a bit. So let's cut this cheek first. Into slices. And then remember, because I'm a chicken, I use a blunt knife to whisk the skin off from underneath. So I'm just going in close with the knife and taking the skin off, just like that. Nice and easy. Let's do that to the rest. And now we are simply going to cut them into cubes like this. There's actually still quite a lot of mango flesh on here, but I'm not going to use it for the cake because I want nice-ish chunks, so I am just going to snack on this. Obviously you don't have to eat it right now, but don't you dare throw it away. This stuff is so good. So just put it in a bowl by the side. I'm going to eat this now. I don't think I can eat 3 mangoes worth of scraps though, so I am going to actually put them in a little bowl and eat those later. Probably with those cake scraps. There we go, a bowl for the cake and a bowl for me. So let's do the cream next. We have here 500 millilitres of whipping cream. That's whipping cream, not double or heavy, because we want a lighter texture. And to that we're going to add 2 tablespoonfuls of caster sugar, just to sweeten up a bit. And now all we have to do is whip it up. That is, whip it up after we've turned it on. Nice, and that's just about the texture we want it at. Just changing aspect here so you can see what's going on sideways, and also I don't have a tripod that's tall enough, and I'm going to try not to touch this because it is very wobbly. Whoops. So yes, we're going to start with a layer of cream. Just a thin layer to start off with. Now we're going to dot that with some mango. Now we're going to pile on a little more cream. And now we're going to put that last slice of cake on top. Set it like a crown. Future Tash voice over here, you probably don't need me to explain what's going on, it's quite obvious. Basically I am spreading the rest of the cream around the cake, reserving a little bit to pipe on top around the edges, and then dumping the rest of the cream on. I cannot concentrate and talk and decorate cakes at the same time, I swear, I'm so bad at it. There we go, that is our mango cake. Now all we have to do is put in the fridge for a few hours for the cream to set, which is just in time because it is my husband's birthday tomorrow, so that's great. And if the lighting looks a bit weird, it's because it's quite late at night now, the sun's gone, so we've got quite harsh lighting for the kitchen. Anyway, let's put this bad boy in the fridge and we'll serve him up tomorrow. Look at that, we are ready for a birthday! And of course I had to get a cool slow-mo shot of Mr. Tashcake's blowing out his birthday candle. And look at how fluffy that sponge is. You will not believe how light and airy this cake is, with so little effort as well. It's so good. Definitely one of my favourites. That was awkward. Every so often a builder passes by. We're on the 3rd floor by the way, but they've got all the scaffolding so they can pass. And I saw one of the builders pass and went at the cake. Should I offer him some? A bit awkward though, all the way up on the 3rd floor with just a platform between him and the ground, so maybe not. Also there are many builders, so I kind of have to offer the cake to everyone if I just offer to one, so that's not really feasible. I'm actually going to give you a sneak peek of what's going on, hang on. Come with me. I'm not going to show his face because he didn't sign up for that, but he's doing something to a balcony at the moment. Brave dude's working so high up. Anyway, let's have another piece of the cake. I say another because obviously I've been greedy and already eaten a bit. Mr. Tashcake's had 2 slices, so it's a good sign. I've just destroyed that cake, but I've managed to get most of it on the fork, so cheers. If you couldn't tell by my happy face, that's a very delicious cake. I need a bit more just to make sure. Thanks for watching guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video and I hope you will join me next Wednesday for my next one. Remember you can get the full written recipe on my blog tashcakes.com, and you can find me on Instagram as tashcakes.taste too. Subscribe and hit the notification bell if you'd like to see more. Give this video a like if you'd like to help other people find it. Comment down below if you'd like me to make anything in particular, and I'll see you guys next week. Be good, be nice, and have a good week.